How's everyone doing today? It's an exciting day. So exciting. I was literally coding up to 30 seconds ago. So yeah, let's get some confirmation in the chat that everything's good. I like rushed this live stream to get everything started and set up. So hopefully I remembered to do everything. I did remember to resize my display, so that was good. What's new? Well, you know what? I decided just to get rid of Foundation 6. You know, no one loves it. So, you know what? We're just going to scrap the whole project. And, yeah, we're all going to find something new. Go to Windows. Sweet. Gaston, Mr. Workman's in the house. Mr. Powers, Gunter, Michael, Rian, thank you for all coming on. Excellent. I was literally, like, seriously, like, I was still coding Foundation 6.8 5 minutes ago, like seriously. And I got it all done. It is done. My to-do list is finished. I made this afternoon. I might try to get one fix in. There's some issue with Portal or something like that. So I want to at least look into that and see if it's something I can. I don't know if the fix is on the Portal side or on the Foundation side, but I'll investigate that. Maybe get that ironed out before I ship this bad boy. Because, yeah, it will ship hopefully today, tomorrow at the latest, but hopefully today. It should go out the door. And obviously that means the new Swatch pack is going to be officially released as well. That is the big thing with this release, or one of the big things with this release. I'm not going to be reviewing any of the Swatch pack today. I'm only going to be focusing on what is new in Foundation 6.8 only. I'll maybe, show you'll see that the swatches are there. Obviously the new swatches from the Swatch pack. Yeah, this video isn't going to be diving into those. I think we'll do the live stream next week on all the new additions in the Swatch pack. And kind of just do another overview video next week on that. So I know I've talked about them a lot, but I think it would be good just to have another live stream on the final versions, because they've changed. The Swatch pack has changed quite a bit since I've done live streams on that. I think the last dedicated live stream I did on those was like back in October. And so that's, 4 months of code changes that I've been working on. So there's a lot of changes there. Yes, I am Joe Workman. Yes. Thank you very much, Gunter. So yes. Hey, Daniel, David, thanks for coming in. Sweet. So I guess without further ado, let's jump on in, because you guys don't want to hear me talking, just me. You guys want to see some cool stuff, right? So, let's go ahead and, let's share my display here. Boop. Okay. And let me get my release notes up, because there is a lot of stuff to look at. Actually, let me move this desktop over here so I can have all my notes. Okay, actually, you know what? We'll move my notes back over to my other display so that we can just look through stuff. Okay. So the first big thing, officially launched. I'll probably publish a couple. There are some nice people have studied my poor grammar on this website and found some spelling mistakes in poor grammar, but foundationstacks.com is officially launched, right? It's official. It's all done. Super excited. Again, I'll probably publish this afternoon some typos and whatnot. I have a few more testimonials. So if you have a testimonial you'd like to send, I actually have like double the amount that's here. So yeah, I have a lot of testimonials that I need to add this afternoon to this homepage. But what's even more important, not just the homepage, while this homepage is super quick and fast, we talked about it like last week with the WebP stuff, the new demo site is pretty awesome. Okay, so the demo site for Foundation 6 is a lot of fun. There's a lot of resources in here. Some great videos. We talked about there's a few different Foundation 6 sites that sell project files. So I know I saw Chris here, Chris Powers. He does the Weaver-based site, right? And then we have Massimo and Davide. So Massimo does RWB Pro and Davide does Foundation Box. So pretty cool stuff there. I know that Davide is working on some new stuff that's going to blow your socks off whenever it's released. Some cool resources here. Just some links to various YouTube channels, some books that I think are useful for Foundation 6. Obviously, the HTML and CSS book right here, right? You guys got that, right? Okay. I know I've talked about this book a lot. I just think it's a fabulous book. I don't know, one day if I have time, because I have so much time to do all kinds of things, I think I'm going to build a course around this book. Like, it's such a good book. Okay. Anyway. Okay. So another great thing about this site is if you notice the side navigation here, guess what? It's the groups of this side navigation perfectly match the groups here in Foundation, right? So we have navigation, text content, media, animations, buttons, code, components. Guess what? All that's over here. Okay. So, so in site styles, you can go. And what's cool is I've divvied up if you go to the bottom of every page, let's go to the video tutorials. These are all the videos. As you know, I have a lot of Foundation videos, right? A lot. So, I know a lot of people find it hard to find the video that they want. All the videos for each pertinent page. So like if we go, this is site styles. These are all videos based on site styles and, utility classes and swatches and stuff like that, right? And then if you go to layouts and you scroll down to the video container, here's all the videos that we have about layouts, right? So it's really, really great. You can get some inspiration. By next week, I should have the project file that I used to build this site. I'm going to create a version for you guys to use. Okay, so hopefully by next week, I'll have a version of this file that you can download and see how I built all the various demos on this site, right? I will give you the project file. Okay, I'm going to make a few modifications because in the past, I gave the foundationstacks.com website for Foundation 1, and people would publish it, and it would just trash my SEO. So it will be a slightly modified version of my project file, and with some disclaimers of please do not publish this online. I know people still will, but at least it'll be less. Okay. So anyway, I'm not going to go through the site, verbatim. I've done that a few times. Please look at this site. Obviously, if you want to check out the new Swatch pack, you can check out the new Swatch pack. It's a lot of really cool stuff. Love this button. That is just so cool. So cool. Okay. So that's the new website. Super stoked about that. I have been dreading, just drudging through, the mud, getting that website done. Just dragging my heels, getting it done. There you go. That's the term I was looking for. Dragging my heels. Okay. What's next? Okay. Obviously the Swatch pack. I told you I'm not going to go over that today. One thing that might be different from the major difference from the Swatch pack that I have that you don't have yet, for those that have pre-purchased, you'll notice that previously the little, let's see, where's my little utility? There it is. Right? There's this little plus sign, and that delineates the Swatch pack. Okay? So the current version that's shipped to everybody has the word pack. I just thought that was just visually just hard and overwhelming for this menu. So I thought the little plus symbol was a nice thing. And as you notice there, if you see here, there's a lot of new swatches. Okay. Lots of new features and whatnot are in the released version as well. I've been working on it for months. I haven't really shipped an update to the Swatch pack. So we'll go over all those swatches next week. Okay. Fernando asked, the HTML and CSS book is a 2014 book. Yes, it is. There's a couple things that might be dated, but most of it is 100% valid. I still think it's a fantastic book. 99% of that book is valid. They're like the only stuff that's not is there's a chapter on Flash or something like that, or a section on Flash. Obviously, Flash is dead. So, but everything else in that book is 100% valid. So yeah, definitely check it out. Okay. Let me get my release notes here. Where'd they go? Okay. We have a couple new stacks in 6.8. So that's fun, right? Let's look at those really quick. I want to keep that. I want to show this to you later when we get to some of the form stuff. We'll just put hide in there so that we hide that. Okay. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. Okay. Pup. Oh, that's actually something I didn't put in my release notes. Good thing I had that there. Okay. New stack. New stacks. We like new stacks, right? Some new, just small things that I think would help people out here. Okay. So one problem for years has been, how do I create an email link, right? And so I thought it would be really nice just to have a button that is a mail to button. So we have a new button stack called mail to, okay? And it has all the features of the other mail button stacks in terms of, all the sizing and radiuses and hollow buttons and all that jazz, right? But if you look up here at the top of the stack, we can easily create a email button without having to know that crazy syntax. To be honest, even I need to look up that syntax all the time because I forget, right? So now we don't need to. Okay, as long as we're okay with it being a button, right? If you want it to be a text link, then hey, you're gonna have to go look it up. Okay, but if you're cool with this being a button, then yeah, you just type in the email address. So support@weavers.space. Your subject, hello everyone, and then your options. You can actually put a default body for your email. You can do CC and BCC addresses, right? Yeah, we can put in all kinds of stuff. So if we want a hollow button or a clear button or a radius button or a round button, all that stuff, right? Obviously, you want to change the button text to email us, okay? And so yeah, we can preview that. It's just a button, right? But if we click on it, it's going to open up. Oh, I didn't have mail launched. I was going to open like 4 or 5 windows because I have mail plugins and all that jazz. Where's it going to open it though? There it goes. Boop, boop, boop. Told you it was going to open up everything. Okay. So there we go. It opened up an email in my default email client with the email address and the subject. And I didn't put in a body, or else it would have put a body in there as well. Cool, right? Pretty slick. I like it. Won't save. So yeah, cool. Mail to button. Super nice. Again, it was just a simple idea. I just thought it would be a useful thing to have because, that mail to URL syntax is the pain in the behind, right? So yeah. I should note that is also, if you use button groups, there's also a mail to button inside the button group. Okay, so there you go. So you can have an email button inside your button group as well. So I don't know, maybe you have, Twitter buttons and Facebook buttons and an email button or something like that, right? So yeah, so we have a default button or mail button, and then we also have a version that goes inside the button group. Okay. Oh, Liverpool's playing Real Madrid today at 12 o'clock. Okay. 15 minutes away. So that's mail to. Okay. Not too exciting, but cool. I like it. I think it's a nice addition. Next one. So I have had a, excuse me. I've had a free link stack, for years, right? It's been my link and anchor stack. And if you don't have it, it's cool. But if you have Foundation 6, there's a better one now. Okay. So, where is it? Here it is. There's link anchor, and no link. These stacks, they've been free on my website for a long time. 10, 12 years, something like that. Long time. But we now have, those stacks were pretty basic though. Hence they're free. But inside Foundation 6 now, we have a stack, a new one called link container. It's inside, I put it inside the Foundation components stacks. I just thought that made sense. And I didn't want to confuse it with the link stack, which is a button. Okay. So I called it link container. So if we add this, if you notice, it's just a drop zone, so you can add whatever you want into it. Okay, and essentially you configure all of the link buttons, okay, or all the link attributes. You could have all, it's just as powerful as the link button. It's all the same attributes. So you can, open a new tab or open in an iframe, such as an offsite stack. You have all of the titles and link SEO rel attributes and hreflangs, all kinds of stuff. So all these fancy attributes, as well as you can make it a close button, all kinds of stuff. And you can also add a nice fancy tooltip to it as well. But what's cool about this is you can add whatever you want into it, right? So for example, let's say that, I don't know, let's look, there's a cards layout. Where is that cards layout? There, cards layout. So let's add a cards layout to this page. We'll extract it, right? And let's say like I want to turn this card into one huge link, right? So if I go here and then I haven't even tested this, but if I add that entire card inside of this link container, and let's just make it go to foundation. Let's preview the page. If you notice, this entire card now, no matter where I hover over it, is one huge link. And if I click on it, it takes me to Weaver Space. So yeah, pretty cool. Super easy. And yeah, it's flexible. You can just add whatever you want into it, and it'll turn whatever that is into one big old link. Pretty cool. Okay, so that's link container. Again, pretty cool, simple stack, but a very useful one, I think. Okay. Next thing. So I've talked about this a lot, and you've probably noticed here. Let's open up a more drastic. Let's open up the Foundation Stacks website actually, so you can kind of see this inside of Rapid Weaver. Okay. Yes, the cards layout is a Foundation 6 template. Okay, so edit mode. If you look at edit mode on this page, let's make this a little bit bigger, maybe. There we go. You'll notice that my edit mode probably looks quite a bit different than your edit mode. Okay. Couple things is shelf. So another feature I did, I've updated shelf to be styled a little bit better. There's a new float shelf option. By default, it's kind of pinned up at the top. But I kind of like this float option. It's on by default because it also lets you still see the stacks version and some other things, right? So that's very useful. Okay. Next up is you'll notice that my edit mode is very kind of minimal, right? It's very minimal, and it's pretty slick. So by default now, when you have Foundation 6 loaded, you'll have streamlined edit mode. Okay. And you can turn it off if you don't like this new streamlined edit mode. You'll notice that it kind of makes everything look much more minimalistic. Okay. And it also makes, because of that, it makes scrolling like a lot faster. So navigating and scrolling through edit mode, look at this. You can never scroll this fast through edit mode before. Never. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to turn it off. We'll turn this off. That's what your edit mode looks like. Okay. And it's still pretty good. It's still pretty fast. It's not quite as fast. I have done a lot of work in terms of scrolling performance, as well with all that turned off, right? But it is a little faster. I like the minimalistic interface. So here, let's just watch this again, and we go from this to this. It just, it's just kind of, for me at least, it's a breath of fresh air. It kind of, it's nice. Now, what's kind of cool is if you hover over and click on anything, anything that all child containers are still kind of highlighted to kind of get you that look of what things used to be like, right? So again, if you click on any container, all of its child stacks are highlighted so you can kind of see things, right? So pretty good stuff there. Okay. Another thing that I did inside while we're looking at site styles, I also added the ability to by default, site styles shows this color chart. Okay. And this is checked by default. If you uncheck that, you can actually hide that color chart. So all you see are your swatches. So that just kind of makes things a little more minimalistic, saves some space in edit mode if you don't need to see those colors all the time. Okay, so you can turn that off. You can also turn on and off that sizing chart, okay, as well. So those are some nice, just some organizational edit mode usability features that we've added. Definitely play around with shelf. I love having access to site styles all the time. Right up in it's no matter where I am in the page, I can access my site styles. So very, very useful. Let's see, new streamlined site styles. Okay, yep, we talked about all of the cool site style ability to hide color palettes. I showed that. Improved shelf. I showed that. This fly is getting me. Okay. Reorganized swatch order. Okay, so inside site styles, you'll notice that I've kind of reorganized where some of the swatches are. Let's talk about that. Okay, so there's a bunch of features. Okay, so there's these features. These are things that are just like, adding font awesome 5 or adding, you can also require another feature of this version that's coming out is when you add jQuery 3, it will actually give the ability to load jQuery version 3.6, which was just released like a few weeks ago. So it is the most current version. Now, just in Foundation, actually the foundationstacks.com is using that. So all of Foundation 6 will work with it perfectly. However, there are other stacks outside of Foundation that you obviously want to add to your pages, and I can't guarantee that those stacks will work properly in jQuery 3. So if you add a stack to the page and it breaks your page, it could be because of jQuery 3. First thing to test is remove this stack from site styles. Does your page work? If it does, then that stack probably needs to be updated with jQuery 3. I recommend that you notify the developer. It could be me. I'm sure I have stacks out there that don't work in jQuery 3 right now. So if you find a stack that is a conflict with jQuery 3, let me know and let the other developer know if it's another developer, and hopefully they can get a fix out there, because I think it is definitely on us developers. We need to update our sometimes it's a lot of work as well. So and hopefully the developer's still around and active for if it's an older stack. Okay, but yeah. So yeah, jQuery 3 support would be really, really nice. But sadly, it is a lot of work for us developers potentially. So there's just take that with a grain of salt, this jQuery 3, and know that it's awesome, it's faster, it's smaller, and it removes some warnings that you get from some page speed tools when it warns about loading an older version of jQuery. So this will resolve that, but it could potentially give you other headaches. So there's my spiel about that. Okay. Next thing is all the font and text style related swatches are now inside font and text. So I believe in I don't remember if I moved these in 6.7 or 6.8, but like text colors is now up here. Same thing with font color. Before these were under general. Okay. So now all anything that has to do with text styling or font styling or anything like that is all up here inside font and text. Okay. General is all just generic general styles. Okay. So basically styles that could be applied to really anything. Okay. And then in components, these are going to be swatches that are specific to certain things. Okay. So, here we have like the component colors, right? Where this is going to be specific to customizing the colors of certain things, like, it's buttons or, accordions and tabs. These are the colors that are used in those. So these are the ability to style the various Foundation 6 components, okay? Hence why it's component colors, okay? It's all the colors that are used within components. Other things like menu styles, right? If you want to style a menu, that is a specific thing, right? So that's why the menu styles is now under components. Same thing with, top bar styles. And there's a bunch of, as you see, there's more Swatch pack stuff in here than anything else. And there's also the third-party stuff, right? So if there's a third-party Swatch, such as fit text or filters or columnist or wallpaper, those are going to be here as well, because those are specific to very specific stacks. Okay. So hopefully that kind of talks about the reorganization of site styles. And lastly, while we're in site styles, there's another cool feature. So down here inside site styles, we now have the ability to define our default button sizing. Okay, so obviously every button, the text in a button has a generic size. It's actually, these are the sizes that we're currently set to. And now you can customize those. So that's kind of cool, right? We can, make, maybe you want slightly larger buttons or slightly smaller, small buttons, so on and so forth. This lets you easily handle that. Okay, pretty cool. Let me see if I'm keeping up on the questions here. A lot of chat about the Real Madrid-Liverpool game. Okay. Will the existing site styles update themselves? Yes. So the existing site styles will update itself. You don't need to do anything. Okay. Good question, Gaston, because in the past we had some issues, but yeah, this should just completely it should update itself. And you shouldn't have any issues. Okay. So yeah. Now before, if you had like a text color swatch in general, it's not going to move it up here. So it won't change how these are organized. It's just where the new menu is. Like if you wanted to add a new one, it would be up here. So it's not going to reorganize your swatches. I don't have any ability or control over that. If you wanted, you can drag and drop them around and move. It really doesn't matter. Like I can have margin up here. It doesn't really matter in terms of the published code. This is more purely just for organization. Okay. It really doesn't matter the location of these swatches at all. Okay. In terms of where they are in here. It's purely just to, just to help us organize things. Okay. Some various things inside swatches. I improved a bunch of just little things. I'm not going to go over every little tweak. Like I added a bunch of settings to various swatches, but there are some big changes that I've made to a few swatches or to every swatch. Okay. And let's talk about that. So if you notice up here, within every swatch, this swatch selector and optional conditions, it's mostly the same for every single swatch, right? And I've updated this to make it better for us. Okay. So, the things that I've done is if you're using a custom CSS selector, okay, which I know some of you are, this box is now much bigger. Okay. And this is true. Again, this is true for what I'm talking about right now is true for every single swatch. Okay. I'm doing an example with a background swatch, but it could be with anything. Okay. Okay. So yeah, you can now use this custom CSS selector box is much bigger. So when you're typing in a kind of a complex CSS selector, previously it was kind of hard to read sometimes. So now we have a nice big box and you can get as crazy as you want. Okay. Okay. Next up, you'll notice that when we use custom CSS selector, previously all these optional conditions would go away. Okay. And I've kept them around now because I think using them in conjunction could be beneficial. Okay. How so? Okay. Let's say, for example, let's start doing some examples here. I don't want to muck up this. I'm going to close this project. Don't save. I don't want to play around inside my active project, if you guys don't mind. Here, let's go ahead and slim this up a little bit. Okay. So you see there, that was perfect, right? I took away the color palettes, and now look, I actually can like see everything in one. Here, let's also take away the sizing chart. Boom. We have more space now. Boom. Nice. All right. So let's go ahead and let's do a background swatch. Okay. And let's go ahead and I'm going to do I'll try to do a simple example here. So let's just add a header to the page. Okay. Let's say, for example, I wanted to target all H3s on my page, right, with a swatch. Okay. Now you probably wouldn't assign a background to H3, but bear with me here. Okay. It's just a good simple example to illustrate what we can do here. And let's say I only wanted to target here. Let's do a little setup work here. Let's call this box A. Okay. And down here, we're going to call this box B. Okay. So I have, here, we'll help you visualize this. We'll put that in the title. So this is box A, and this one is box B. Okay. Another trick, I know I've said this a few times. A trick that I do is if I put a class on something that I think I want to visually see, I'll put those classes up in the title as well, so I can see those classes here. Okay. Okay. So previously, if I was doing a custom CSS selector, I could do like H3, okay? And let's just make it a background of red, just so we can really see it. Okay, are these H3s? Yes. Okay. So we have H3, okay? And if we preview this, boom, actually here, I'm gonna open up the simulator so we can see it all at the same time. And let's just make it like a iPad or something like that. There we go. Move it over here. And do this. Hide that page. Hide that. Make this smaller. Oops. There we go. All right. So now we can kind of get live preview. All right. So here I'm defining in the custom CSS selector. I just did H3, right? And super simple. But let's say we wanted to target all of the H3s inside box B. Okay. Previously, we didn't have, when we were using custom CSS selector, we didn't have access to parent class. So you would have to know that you could do this dot box B space H3. And when we do that, that works over here, right? As you see, I'm only targeting the header inside box 3. But, sometimes that syntax was just confusing to people, right? So I think that allowing you to still use these parent classes. So instead of me typing that up there and knowing that I had to do that, I could just do box B in the parent class. And there we go. So now we can still see the CSS selector. It's the same thing as if I were to type it inside this box, okay? But just makes things a little bit easier, okay? Because a lot of times we want to target just something simple like an H3 or a paragraph or a button, right? And sometimes, we can use a class, but sometimes we can't. Sometimes if you want to target a specific, like all of an H3 or all whatever, right? So like here, if I put multiple H3s inside box B, well, guess what? I have multiple in there now. And this is now targeting all H3s inside box B. Cool, right? Now, when I did this, when I added this parent, you probably saw one other new feature that I added, okay? Oh, another thing I should say is we also have access to pseudo state, right? So you can now add a hover event to this. So now this is all H3s on hover inside box B. So when I hover over, when I go over here and I hover over that, we can then, define our hover styles. Pretty cool, right? Okay. So just having access to these optional conditions potentially makes things a little bit easier and more user friendly. So I'm glad I added this. I think it's a great addition. Okay. Now, when you notice that when I added parent class, okay, and this is true no matter where you use parent class, okay, whenever you define a parent class, you now have this option to do hover parent. What does this mean? Wait, let's take this example that I just built here. Okay, here, let's actually let's add some more content to this page really quick. Let's just add some text. No, I don't want RGB text. I want text. Okay. So now here inside box B, okay, I have two headers and then I have a text box. Okay. And you notice that when I hover over, and again, actually what's interesting is this is markdown that is an H3. Okay. And I can still target that with that swatch. So we now have three headers in here. And when I hover over each header, it gets my background color of red. But what if what I want is, what if I hover anywhere over the parent? If I hover anywhere over the parent, I want to apply this style to the children. Okay. So what I can do is, instead of hovering over the actual H3, okay, what I want to do is, instead of turning the hover state onto the pseudo state, I want to add it to the parent. Okay, and let's look really quick at what this change does. Let's look at this CSS selector right here. Okay, this is what the swatch is doing. Okay, here it's saying box B H3 hover. So what that says is, inside box B, when we hover over an H3, do this. Okay, now let's look at how that changes. So let's turn off hover on the H3, and let's turn on hover on the parent. Okay, that makes a very subtle but very important difference here. This says box B hover H3. So when I hover over box B, it's going to style everything, all H3s inside. Let's look at that in action. So when I hover over box B, it now applies the style to all of them at the same time. So this is very cool. This allows us to apply styles when we hover over a parent element. Pretty cool, right? Let's show an example that just uses a class, right? Let's call this class red. Okay. So instead of all H3s, anything that has a class of red will get a background of red on hover. Okay. So let's say I want this to have a class of red and this to have a class of red. So I have this header and this. When I hover anywhere over the box B now, anything that has the red class will be colored red. Okay. So now when I hover anywhere over box B, anything that has the red class will get colored red. Pretty cool, right? Okay. So that is a very simple, pretty ugly as well. I mean, you're not going to be doing something like this. Obviously, we can add transitions as well here. We'll add a quick transition just to show you that, right? So we can add a transition to red so that anything that has the red class will get a transition so that when we hover, we have a nice fade-in effect instead of, something, Again, you're probably not going to be doing red backgrounds on hover, but you can do all kinds of stuff, right? And affecting, the contents of a parent just by hovering over that parent. Pretty cool. Just to show you a little example of what you could do with that. just because I know that that example is pretty obtuse and simple. Let's see like a real world example. Actually, if we go to this swatch pack. Here's a good one. Look at this. Okay. You could do most of this I'm using a toggler here because toggler allows you to apply classes from an external element. But let's say when I hovered over this, you could do this exact demo if you hovered over this to do the same exact demo, actually, basically, right? So let's pretend I'm hovering over this element. You could do the same exact thing with the parent hover as I'm doing here with toggler. Toggler just allows me to do that from something external outside of the element itself. But you can now do this same exact effect. Pretend I was like hovering over this element. You could do the same exact thing with this. Pretty cool. Kind of like this form here, right? Now, this uses some really fancy animations and transforms and stuff. But I'm using the hover parent in this because I'm hovering over the parent banner and triggering all these animations. This example here uses the hover parent stuff. So here's a really nice fancy example of using the hover parent. Cool. Okay. Let me see what else. We're going to go through a couple small minor additions to some swatches here. So if we go to the height swatch, previously, if you defined if you go to detailed min max height, you can now provide the actual unit that you want. Before it was hard coded as a percentage or pixels. It was pixels, but now you can actually define the unit that you want, right? And this is an edge case scenario, but when you need it, and I actually use this in some of the examples in the demos on Foundation 6 demos. So yeah, this is a useful little tool. And actually, I think it was Massimo from RW Pro. He actually requested this, and I was like, really, who would ever want that? And then I was building the demos, and I wanted that. So yeah, so now we got it. That's a cool one. Let's see what else. Improve background sizing options. Let's see. So for the width, here I already have the height stack. For the previously, the width, height, margin, and padding stacks did not have a media query option. Okay, we now have that as an option. Okay, so you can actually define a media query here for all 4 of those stacks that didn't have them before. So again, height, width, margin, and padding now have the media query option that wasn't previously there for those swatches. And the last one that I'm going to show, there's a few other minor things. I'm not going to review every little nook and cranny change, but a cool one is in the menu styles. You can now apply a style, a different swatch for when a menu is stuck. Okay, so that you can have a default style for a menu, and then you can style it differently when that menu is stuck. Okay, so pretty cool there. So maybe you want to change the colors or the background or whatever you want. You can change the style of a menu when it's stuck. So there we go. And you that's stuck using the sticky stack. Okay. Forms. I've been working, all these features for the forms is actually, I've kind of been working on those the past few days. And I'm really excited about some of these options. Really, really cool stuff here. Which we go over first? Okay, let's just show this example here. Let me take away this hide. And actually, I'm gonna have to preview in a browser. I can't use the simulate window for this one because we need to look at the URL bar. So, as you probably, if you watched the Foundation 6 Forms Masterclass live stream that I did a while ago, you probably learned that you can auto submit forms, okay, by changing a select box, you can also pass default values to form fields via the URL, right? Which is really cool. But previously that only worked for like text boxes and stuff. But now it will work with checkboxes, switches, radios. So it works for a vast majority of the form fields now as well, which is really cool. And on top of that, in the form stack, you can now, there's now an option. We still have the auto submit on select change, but we have an even more powerful field now. Right below it is auto submit. Man, these stupid tooltips always show up when I don't want them to show up. Let me just get rid of it. Auto submit on field change. And when you set that, you can set the field name. And whenever that form option is changed, the form will be automatically submitted. Okay, pretty cool. So for example, here in this example, whenever I check this switch, it will automatically submit this form. And this form uses a get URL, okay? And I don't have a URL submitted here, so what it does is it'll just refresh this page and append the URL options. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check this box. And if you notice that the page actually refreshed, if we look at the URL, it has all the options here, okay? And if you notice also, because it was passed switch equals on, okay, and the switch here, the on value is on. So if that value is passed, it will automatically, keep that default value because we passed it via the URL. Right? We can do that, and we can do that with anything, right? So if we look at this checkbox, the on value is on. Even these radios, I have two radio buttons. One, the value is on, the other value is off, right? So if I just do checkbox, and that's because the name of this checkbox field is checkbox, if I do checkbox equals on, on, O-N, thank you. Okay, so I passed checkbox equals on to this URL. And if you look here, the checkbox is checked because I passed the true value of that. And we can do others, right? So if I do and radio equals off, okay, there we go. So here I can pass multiple fields, and all of those values are interpolated. And if I want to do the on option for radio, I can do radio equals on, and there we go, right? So we can now pass more than just text fields. We can pass radio, checkboxes, and switches, okay? And yeah, so, and also, like, if I go ahead and just check any of those and hit submit, because the form action is a get action, we'll notice that all of those are passed to the URL as well, and all those values are set. Pretty cool, right? Do the forms support PHP 7.4? Yes. All Foundation 6 forms work in 7.4. This is a really cool one. Okay. Give me a second. Let me, here, I'm going to have to, we'll use, let's see, we're going to have to do a couple things here. First off, to illustrate this, we're going to add where's button? We're going to add a button to the page, and then we're going to add a light box to the page. And then I'm going to go into templates, or is going to do contact form. Okay, we're going to get rid of that. We're going to extract this contact form template. Okay, and let's play with some of these. Okay, so let's just, what the heck? I'm going to go ahead and add something new here, and it's called Open Close F6 Component. Okay, let me set up this light box really quick. So this is going to open up open up a light box. Lightbox ID is lightbox1, and I think that's the default lightbox ID. Cool, so that will work. Email action. Let's just hold on, let me just set this up. Okay, just set that up right there. So I'm going to do an email action. And what this open close F6 component says is we want to either open or close a Foundation 6 component, and we put in the ID here. So this could be the ID of a lightbox, the ID of a dropdown, the ID of a off-canvas panel, the ID of anything that's closable or openable, okay, in Foundation that has an ID, you can put it here, okay? And then you can provide a slight delay. So let's do like let's do a longer delay of 5 seconds just so we can see it happen. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is we're going to preview that. And I open this, and it opens up a lightbox, right? And let's go ahead and do, let's fill this out. Okay, I'm going to hit submit. And it's working, it's working. Oh, it failed. Oh, it's probably, oh, I'm in preview. Duh. 1 second here. Let's publish this to my server. Oh, I already had a demo of this on my published. Oh, well, it's fine. Okay, boom. All right, so here, Joe, support at weavers.space. Hello. Going to click submit. And it's going to think. Successful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. Lightbox closes. Boom. Pretty cool, right? Again, that was a 5-second delay. Probably a little long. But you can do the same thing. Other examples of this, of using this, is let's say someone submits a form, and when they submit the form, you want to open a lightbox after they successfully submit a form. So instead of, if this form wasn't inside of a lightbox, let's say the form was on your page, and then after it was successful, you wanted to open a lightbox 5 seconds after, you can do that now as well, because this action will open or close any Foundation 6 component. That's pretty slick, right? That is very powerful. Okay. Oh, another example is I'm not going to implement the entire example, but just to show you, I will probably have to update this template. What was that? Contact widget, right? So this this contact widget that we have, you know, this little doodad right here. Oh, something's broken. Not sure what I did there. What's going on? There's no errors. That's odd. Well, anyway, this little contact widget, you could then go ahead and add close Foundation component to this, and then set it to what's the ID of this dropdown, right? It would be chat modal. So you would do close chat modal 2 seconds after they submit this form, right? So when the form is success, and again, it's important, it only launches this action when the form is successful. Okay, so you would have to have an email action that, and then when that email action is successful, okay, it will then trigger the open and close action, which in this case would close this drop down, which is pretty cool, right? Allows some really cool customizations here. Love it. Some other minor things with forms. Let's see. If you ever used a date field, only one person ever reported this bug, so I guess not many people use it. Or at least use the time field. So if you used time in here, the time wasn't working properly. So if you used hours and minutes in your format, it wouldn't properly get formatted in here, right? So yeah, it wasn't working. Now it works. Cool. Cool. So that is form. Some other miscellaneous stuff. Here's a cool one. There's some other miscellaneous things. I added some settings into, let's see, into SVG stack. I added some stuff to the video stack. Hollow group. If you use button groups and you set it to the style of hollow, it failed before. Now hollow button groups work well. So here, I'll just show you really quick. If you go to button groups, previously, if you set the style to hollow, it just looked horrible. So yeah, it didn't work. And we want no gaps. So there we go. There's a nice hollow button group. Previously, it would use the wrong colors, and depending on the colors you used, it would actually have a solid background instead of it being hollow. So yeah, hollow button groups weren't working before. They do now. Now, a really cool feature, similar, you know how I added a mailto button just to, make things a little simpler? Another thing people ask all the time is, how can I get a back button? How can I make a back button? Right? So I figured, okay, why not add it to the button stack? So now under the function, you can do history, and you can make this a history button. And so you could say go back. And what's kind of cool is I give you the ability to actually navigate. So you can, the default is -1 in this setting. So there's a go setting here, and you can set that to be the default is -1, which is to go backwards one page. Okay. If you want to go back 2 pages, guess what? You can set it to -2. If you set it to positive numbers, it turns it into a forward button. Okay. So yeah, interesting. But a lot of people always want to know how to do a history button, right? So now inside the button stack, you can just set it to history. The default is to go back 1 page. And there you go. Couldn't be easier. And boom, that does it for Foundation 6.8. There's obviously, I fixed a bunch of like little tool tips and, some other, minor style bugs and issues and performance. I'm always tweaking things to make it faster. So yeah, I'm really excited for Foundation 6. I think it's Foundation 6.8 is a really, really great update. Obviously, a big part of that is going to be the Swatch pack. So yeah, I didn't go over any of that today. So we'll probably reserve that for next week. I'll review all the Swatch pack again next week with the released versions. When will this be available? Hopefully today. There's a few minor things I want to look at. But if it's not released today, it will be first thing in the morning tomorrow. I'm really stoked about it. It's a really, really powerful update. Hopefully I answered all the questions from the chat. Will there be a text-align swatch in the Swatch pack? You don't really need a text-align swatch because there's text-align utility classes. So, yeah, there you go. Just use a utility class. Thank you very much, everyone. It was really interactive on the chat today. I appreciate that. Hope you enjoy this. I know you're waiting for this pretty eagerly, and I will get this out to you as soon as possible. Okay. So take care, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful day. Please join us on Friday. Friday is 1:30 p.m. Pacific. So basically 1 hour from right now on Friday, we meet, we hang out. We'll probably talk more about Foundation 6.8. If you have anything you want to show off or you have questions that you're burning to ask a few questions, you can come meet with me and several other Wrap Review users and chit chat and learn and get help live. So yeah, cool. We'll see you there on Friday. If not, post on the Weaver Space community. We'll see you over there. And take care. We'll see you next week, guys. Bye.